I had a kid in camp who was acting up. Maybe he was stepping out of line at a lineup. We had lineups in sleepaway camp, and he was talking when he wasn't supposed to talk, something like that, at the lineup when they were making announcements. And the head counselor said to him, "Get back into line." And I turned to the head counselor and I said, "For so and so, that won't help. That won't be enough." And the head counselor looked at me and said something like, "Thank you, O prophet." And I was taken aback. Why would he do that? Why would he say such a thing? And years later, I learned a lesson in the Torah. It talks about Joseph. Joseph was 17 years old and he was a total genius. He had an issue that he was inexperienced. And because of that, he messed up. Even though he was teaching people that were light years ahead of him about various things. But when it came to experience, nothing replaces experience. And even Joseph missed that nothing replaces experience because he didn't experience it yet. The head counselor of camp was a man already in his 50s or 60s. He had decades of dealing with kids in classrooms and in sleepaway camp. And here, I'm 18 years old, and I'm telling him that for this kid, that's not going to be enough. Who am I? The head counselor pulled me over to the side and said, "You're still in your years of learning. This is not for you to tell me what's going to work and what's not. You're still in your years of learning." I was taken back by that too. It's a very hard thing to recognize when you are inexperienced. And it's a very important thing because sometimes, you might be a very good professional in your area. But when it comes to talking to someone with 20 years experience, with 10 years experience, who are you? I've heard that the respect that the residents have for a surgeon is awesome. You follow them in the hallways of the hospital. In some ways, it almost feels like it's a haughtiness trip for the surgeon, but in some ways, it's very proper. The surgeon has seen so much more than these residents. Listen to how the surgeon handles things. Take it all in. Part of the trick is to not feel like you're an expert, is to really sense that you are inexperienced, that you just don't know yet, that you still have time to grow in this area. You still have a lot to grow in this area. That's part of the trick. And if you have other tricks, feel free to share, because I'd love to hear more ideas of how to remain that humble person when you are inexperienced, even though you already have knowledge in the area, and it feels like you want to say, "Oh, I already know." When you don't have experience, your knowledge is trumped to experience.